This portion of the news brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
In news from the courts, police have charged 20-year-old Gerald Brown with the New Year's Day murder of Teron Ellis. Ellis was reportedly sitting in a car in the Hospital Lane area on New Year's Day when a gunman approached him and shot him several times. He died in hospital. In court today, Brown was not required to enter a plea. A voluntary bill of indictment is expected to be filed. The case has been adjourned.
A Delta Airlines flight heading into Atlanta from Nassau on Monday was forced to divert. A News Channel 5 online article in West Palm Beach reported that the Delta Airlines flight was forced to stop at the Palm Beach International Airport due to electrical problems. Palm Beach County Fire Rescue confirmed that the challenges were reported by the airline's crew. 152 people were on board. The jet landed safely and no injuries were reported. How much load can the old Paradise Island Bridge take? Well, crews from the Ministry of Works along with consultants are testing just that. Last evening, the team worked through the night in hopes of determining the true capacity of the bridge built in the 1960s. Works senior structural engineer Robert Muzas told ZNS News last night that officials want to avoid demolishing the bridge at any cost, as it's a vital asset to the Bahamas.
Well, basically what the gentlemen are doing in the background there is putting devices on the bridge which can monitor the load that goes onto the bridge. So what we'll be doing shortly is putting a load on the bridge, a substantial load, and they will monitor the change in the instruments for the stresses and strains, and they'll be able to tell at the end of the day what load that bridge can take, and they'll do it for a few spans across the bridge.
Ministry of Works officials are performing these tests at night to not disrupt traffic. They hope to complete the exercise sometime next week.
I'm quite confident the load testing won't fail, but if it does fail, we will have to think of ways of limiting heavy lorries coming over the bridge. The bridge was designed in 1967 for a substantial vehicle coming over it, and that still is the case. We just want to know if we can go a little higher with our vehicles.
Amid so much talk about the negative impact of crime, this artist we're about to introduce you to is among the majority, making a difference and contributing to building the country by transforming the inner city. Clint Watson tells us how his music has impacted lives and what he's about to embark on this weekend.
Give me something different. He's living his dreams and fulfilling what he calls destiny. Tanaj Cartwright, better known as Naji Dunn, is nothing short of a miracle. Having been given up on repeatedly as a baby with multiple health conditions, but purpose was in pursuit of him. And 2 decades later, he's reaching his generation in a phenomenal way, climbing to the top of the charts as one of the most sought-after Bahamian contemporary gospel recording artists. But his heart is to see a changed society among all the crime and social ills, and he's using his life to make that difference.
It's just being grounded in God's word and just being grounded around people that look up to God, and I was blessed with that, and that's why I try to be a light to the people that aren't. That's why you see me doing so many outreach ministries, or you see me doing more events outside of church, because I feel like this is what they need. This is what's going to help them, and I feel like we can go into these areas every day and speak politics or speak religious or speak churches, but if we don't really get them grounded in God and keep going back, it's not going to work.
Together with other youth artists through a ministry called 4 Walls Down, they're seeing a turnaround in Bahamian youth, particularly young men.
What we do, we don't just go in and just leave them. We go in, come back, and come back, and come back, because we're not building. We're trying to build relationships when we go in, and we do that, and more important, we're trying to get them to build a relationship with Christ.
Naji Dunn's sophomore album, The Pursuit Continues, drops this weekend in a big way. An album release concert Saturday night at Potential Church, along with some of the biggest names in contemporary gospel locally. But that's not it. Joining him will be multi-Grammy Award nominee Canton Jones.
Like I said, I mean, it's gonna be an experience. And just the support, the atmosphere is gonna be right. And I mean, I just want to tell you my story, and not just my story, but your story too.
Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.
Coming up in sports, a regional chess champion celebrated in the House of Assembly today. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
This is your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm Candino Knowles. Bahamar announced today that Executive Vice President Gregory DeJardin will head the company's new Asian business development operations to be headquartered in Hong Kong. In a statement today, Bahamar's President Ton Dunlop said this is a strategic move for the company and is a natural part of Bahamar's development as it builds toward opening in December 2014. As a part of this initiative and with its expanded presence in Hong Kong, Bahamar will be locating its new offices in Jardine House, located in the heart of Hong Kong's Central Business District. The Bahamas Pharmacy Council has announced plans to increase its portfolio of inspectors to improve the efficiency of pharmacy inspections this year. In addition to continuing the drafting of regulations and policies, the council, chaired by Barbara Donathan, says it's working towards a national examination for all applicants, putting together a plan to reduce waiting times and steps for registration and licensing. A task force to produce a strategic working plan for the next 3 years is also in the making. And in international business news, Tuesday was a $2.6 billion day of reckoning for J.P. Morgan Chase over its decades of dealings with Bernard Madoff. Federal prosecutors announced a $1.7 billion settlement with the bank, which was accused of ignoring red flags about Madoff's crimes and allegedly turning a blind eye to his massive fraud while acting as his banker. U.S. Attorney Preet Bharara in New York City said the funds will compensate victims of Madoff's convicted mastermind of the biggest Ponzi scheme in history. This has been your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm Candino Knowles.